Using our sourdough pizza crust. We're gonna do cheese, pepperoni, sausage, veggie, all that jazz, and of course some cheesy bread because you gotta have cheesy bread. Let's start by getting our sausage cooking up for our sausage pizza. So I'm gonna get this in my pan. Make sure I grab that little bit off. And this is just a mild Italian sausage, nothing fancy, but sausage pizza is one of my favorites. It's sausage with mushrooms, onions, and peppers is my favorite pizza, which is what one of the pizzas we're gonna make here. I'm just gonna chop this up a little bit, get it going, start it to cook. Let me wash my hands real quick. It's got a little sausage on it. Pizza, while those cooking, the first pizza we're going to do is actually going to be a cheese bread. And we're going to get a cheese bread going in there so we can then prep up our veggies, because I like to saute my veggies up instead of just putting them on raw. I think it just makes the pizza taste a lot better. But we've got our nice sourdough crust here. And this is made with some 00 flour, which just makes it nice and lovely. It has a little bit of honey in it to help kind of bring out the golden color. And we're just gonna stretch it because I find that that works the best instead of trying to like roll it out flat, but just giving it a good pull and stretch it until we get to where we want it. And you don't want to have your crust too thick or it takes forever to cook through. There we go. Getting there. So this is going to be for our cheese bread. I am doing it on parchment paper because I have found that I'm using my little pizza oven here, that if I put it on parchment paper, which this is graded up to like 500 degrees, it just makes it so much easier to transfer it off and on. So this is going to be our cheese bread. I'm going to put a little bit of butter down for this. And just kind of spread it on our dough here. There we go. And then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of garlic salt. And then a little bit of Italian herbs, or like Italian seasoning. Let's open that one. We're going to nice little sprinkle, and then we're going to put some mozzarella cheese on it, and then we're going to do again those spices all over again. So let's get our sausage. I'm going to turn it down to about a 5 now that my pan's nice and hot. We're going to get this sauteing up for it, and this is our nice Italian sausage. That's going to go with our pizza on here. There we go. We're going to break this guy up. And now while we're over here, let me grab, when I was going through my drawer and I was like, we need to have pizza because I have like 20 half-empty mozzarellas. And that's just cray. So we're going to sprinkle our cheese on. One down, 5 more to go. And it is like simply a handful in each one. Okay, so we've got a nice layer of our cheese, and then what makes the cheese bread the best is, again, putting the garlic salt and the spices on top. So you have your crust flavor, but you need to flavor your cheese as well. And my kids absolutely love this. And we're gonna go into my little pocket kind of pizza oven. Not the bougie one at my parents' house that I love to use, but this is perfect for here. It keeps it nice and hot. It's a nice stone. It keeps it up. Just cooks it really great. It's like the best for pizzas. It works better than the oven. We're gonna let that cook for just a few minutes. And while that's cooking, oh, looks like I got some sausage overboard. Getting our sausage kind of sauteed up here. And then we're gonna saute up some onions, mushrooms, and peppers to go on our pizza as well. gonna turn that down just a smidge, and we'll get this one going. I'm gonna put in about, since it's a pretty good sized pan, about 1.5 teaspoons to 2 teaspoons of olive oil. We're gonna start warming that up over like a medium-high heat. And then we're gonna get our onion going. I don't need a full onion for today's meal because again, not all of my pizza is gonna have onion on it. So I'm just gonna use half of a yellow onion. And then I'm gonna peel it. And then I'll do kind of big chunks because when I put onions on my pizza, I like them nice and big. But you've gotta saute them. You can't leave them raw because sauteed vegetables just taste so much better. So we're gonna do some kind of big chunks. We're gonna let these saute up, and then I'm gonna throw my peppers in as well, and my mushrooms. So we'll get our onions going first. While we're waiting, we're gonna get our peppers in. I've got 3 sweet peppers. Fun colors, but I just love the combination of sausage, onions, and peppers is just my favorite, and black olives, but nobody else in my family shares my love for black olives, so I never put them on, but I love black olives on a pizza. And then I have this one random ingredient that is, when I lived in Germany and did a foreign exchange there, I'd go to this pizza restaurant and they always had it and it was delicious, but corn, like canned corn or frozen corn on a pizza, really good, really weird, but delicious. I know, it's strange. So let's get these guys, and like my onions, I'm gonna do kind of a bigger chunk on my peppers. Now I'm using sweet peppers because I feel like they're less bitter than a green pepper. You could also use a bell pepper, but I would again try to go with, you know, the red, the yellow, the oranges over the green because the green is the most bitter of the peppers. Grab some tongs and I'll toss my onions in this olive oil, and then we can start prepping up a cheese pizza or maybe a pepperoni pizza next while we wait for our veggies to saute here. I'm also going to do, it's one of my kids' favorite, it's like a dessert pizza, but it's really just butter and cinnamon sugar, and they just love it. So it's kind of, you've got that nice kind of pizza dough, but a nice sweet version of it. Sometimes I'll do a Nutella pizza, which is also a big hit on it. But my Nutella is all gone, so I'll need to restock that. My kids love Nutella. Bruni, excuse me. Okay, let's take a quick peek at it. It's bubbling up, looking great. I'll know that it's ready when I have some nice brown bubbles forming on my pizza, as well as that kind of slightly golden color to the pizza crust. It doesn't take too long for each one to cook up in there, about 5 or so minutes. Once it gets nice and hot and going, it goes pretty fast. Okay, let's get some mushrooms sliced up.
Hey, you have a question? Do you like honey with your pizza?
I do like honey with my pizza, as in dipping my pizza crust in it. And I will say, one of my favorite pizzas ever, it's in the kind of the town I grew up when I was a kid, and then I went back to college, was Great Plains Pizza. And they had this whole wheat and beer pizza crust, and it always came with like honey packets to dip your crust in, and it was just my favorite pizza. I even took our kids back there when one of those times we went up to my sister's lake house, and I was like, oh, let's go through Ames, Iowa, we'll stop there and get it. And they were like, I don't know what the whole hype is. It is just so good. I don't know if it's because it's just what I had, but both my husband and I love it. Whenever we go there, you can actually order half-baked pizzas, and we will get a bunch of half-baked pizzas that we will then drive down from Iowa here and pop in our freezer to just kind of bake up whenever. I need to work on mastering that pizza crust. Okay. Ooh, getting there, almost there. Just maybe a minute or two longer and we'll have it. Okay. I've got my onions here. They're starting to get a nice kind of golden color to it, so I'm going to throw in my peppers. And since, you know, you could saute them all separately, but I'm throwing them all on essentially the same pizza. So we're just going to saute them together. And then last, we'll put our mushrooms in after those peppers get a little bit. But while we're working on sauteing those up, let's get our next pizza crust kind of going. So again, I have my nice sourdough pizza crust in here, which just works great. It's much, I will have to say, once I kind of started using sourdough to make my pizza crust, I have not gone back to a yeast crust because I really, really enjoy, I feel like it just is so much better and easier to work with.
People are noticing your Christmas decorations are coming.
Yes, so I've been working the last kind of, yesterday I made my husband bring all 30 tubs of my Christmas decorations down, so I've been slowly putting them up, and I've got a pretty good start on it. I realized how much decorations I have, and yet I still feel like I have room to add. I have a couple of rooms in my house that I have no decorations, so there's always room to add more. But I am just when it comes to Christmas, I am an over decorator. Or actually all holidays, I just love getting out, and I like take all of my other decorations down for the most part, and I put all themed ones up. I know it's crazy and ridiculous, and I've been collecting them through the years. I always have, when my mom goes to Germany, and she goes to like the Weihnachts marks, the Christmas marks there, I always make her bring me back decorations. And she's actually going to be spending Christmas in Germany this year, so beautiful. Look at this nice, gorgeous crust on the bottom. I'll see if I can lift it up for you guys. Let's see, it's nice and hot, but look at that. Gorgeous. So we're gonna add that down here,
And do you decorate outside?
we do decorate outside. We do lights around our Christmas, or like our house, you know, where you line it up, and then I have these giant, like, ornament lights that look like just jumbo lights that I line my driveway with, and every year I like to add a little decoration. My husband is very much like bah humbug when it comes to that, because all he can think about is, I'm gonna have to bring this up into the attic again. But yes, I decorate. I'm not the crazy house yet, but I'm getting there. A couple more years and I'll probably be the one that's over decorated, but yes. And we decorate early. But there are more and more people who have joined in the early decorating. So, you know, Evie likes to point out that some people already have their lights up on their houses already. And I was like, we'll get there soon. And I just brought in all the Halloween decorations from outside in. So we've got a couple things up outside yet, but it's going. And then we always get our Christmas tree. We always get kind of the week of Thanksgiving. That way it lasts, because I am a proponent of having a fresh Christmas tree that smells and sheds its needles everywhere, but I love it. Okay, we got our next kind of pizza ready. We're gonna do a basic cheese on this. Let me grab a spoon for our sauce. I'll put it on here. Go. And put it all, kind of spread it around. I don't go too saucy because I don't want it to be soupy, but just a good, nice covering. And this is just going to be a plain cheese because, you know, with little ones, they all love cheese pizza. Woohoo! Third bag down, half-used bag. And this one looks like it's perfect for a pizza. We're gonna put this on. I always like to let my stone heat up a little bit between. That way it gives you that nice kind of brownish, golden brown color on the bottom of our pizza. Now that this one I think is nice and thin, but look at that beautiful bottom of it. Nice, thin, crispy, but chewy at the same time. All right, let me season up my veggies here. We're gonna add a little bit of garlic salt and a little bit of Italian seasoning. And that's just gonna give them a great flavor on there. And then my Italian sausage is all done as well. So we can make a nice Italian sausage and veggie pizza. And then we do the classic pepperoni. I don't go as bougie as when I'm cooking at my parents' outdoor kitchen because that's just meant for being bougie pizzas. But here we do the classics. There we go. So I've got our mushrooms, our onions, and our peppers sauteing up. And this is, I'll say it again, and I'll say it 1,000 times. Cook your veggies before you put them on your pizza. They are so much better. Okay, let me start getting another ball of dough going. And we're gonna start stretching it out. Like I said, this is a sourdough pizza crust, and it has the best stretch to it. It gives you chewy, but crispy at the same time on there, and I will say, it just is one of my favorite crusts that I make, and it's really simple for it. So you start off with about a cup of sourdough discard, and then it's about a cup and a half of like warm water, and then you add in about 2.5 cups of flour, a tablespoon of honey, some salt and oil, and you knead it, and then you just let it sit for a couple hours, and it just makes the best pizza dough. And I will say the nice thing about it is you can really work with it, and it's pretty forgiving. Okay, look at this kind of squished out. I'll do a little bit of sauce here. And get it going. And now we're gonna do our sauteed veggies and our sausage on here. So really load it up with all this deliciousness. Let me find some of those onions and sweet peppers. Beautiful. And then we're gonna do some Italian sausage on here. Add a couple more chunks. And then we're gonna do our layer of cheese, and then I always add just a few on top. For some reason, I was going through and I was like figuring out what should I do for dinner tonight. And my husband made a joke and he's like, we should have pizza. He's like, I really want pizza. And normally I always just do pizza at my parents because of their pizza oven. So I have this guy. And I was like, you know what? I have so much mozzarella cheese in my drawer. And I think it's just it just collects from the months of doing pizza or lasagna or something like that. And I had so much of it. And I'm like, we will definitely do it. Look at our pizza there. We're getting a nice bubble up on it. It will be ready in just a few minutes. Give it a little thing. I'm going to put a couple sausages on the top of this. And get this going. And then we'll do a couple veggies on top as well. That way you know exactly what's underneath here. It's like that double layer. Here we go. And I will say they are just so filling too on here. I'm gonna slide this to ready and we can start stretching out our next one. That way we'll have a nice little belt going in of each one that we're ready for. Now, if you don't have a pizza oven like this, you can cook your pizzas in your regular oven, and I would just do it on convection bake at around 450. If you have a pizza stone, that's even better. Then you just preheat that pizza stone up. That's gonna help give you that nice crispy crust on it. But you can also do it on a baking sheet, but preheat your baking sheet as well. Keep it in there and then just put your pizza on a parchment paper and put it on there to bake.
You have a question, where did you get yours?
This is Breville, a Breville pizza oven. This oven, they discontinue it. They don't make it anymore because this thing is like 15, maybe 20 years old. And it so they don't have, Breville doesn't make one like this circle one anymore, but they have a square one. I will say there's like one that's called an Una or something like that. And I've heard really great reviews about that as well on it. I think this one is so nice because it's so small, but I love it, but they don't make it anymore. It was a Williams-Sonoma thing, and I will say it was my mom's, and I just borrowing it. It's been borrowed for a couple of years here. I really think I had this in high school, so you can just see how dated it is, but it's going strong. Okay, let's check this pizza out. Beautiful. Let's get this guy off. I'll slide him right next to our cheesy bread, and we'll get our next one on there, cooking up. But just gorgeous. You've got, again, you'll have this nice crispy crust that will just be amazing. Okay, let's get some sauce on here. Here we're gonna do pepperoni extreme. It'll be better than the Shakalicious one, where I feel like I remember watching a commercial and there was like 75 pepperonis per pizza. We're not gonna do that much. It's a little crazy, but we will put our nice big pepperonis, and I double layer my pepperoni, so I have them underneath and on top, so you get extra, pepperonis everywhere. It's called a Popalicious one because pepperoni pizza is my husband's favorite pizza. So we'll just keep going around as if, it's a nice layer of things. And I have them like overlapping too, so that you get lots of pepperoni in it. Here we go. So we've got our first layer of pepperoni. And we're gonna put cheese, and then we'll do our second layer of pepperoni. Now the second layer, I don't layer it quite as crazy.
Do you have a favorite pizza sauce you like to use?
Yes, my favorite pizza sauce that I like to use is Rayo's, but I had some of this frickin' frack. It's a funny name. It was left over from like a pizza thing, and I was like, oh, I just better use this before I go out and buy another one. So I had it. This is one like my brother-in-law bought, and it's pretty good, but Rayo's is, again, my favorite. I like their marinara. I think because it's such a simple sauce, it's not overly spiced and whatnot. Looking good. Just giving a good check on it. Beautiful. Okay, we've got our layer of cheese here. And now we're gonna do our next layer of pepperoni, which is not quite as crazy. I think I can get 2 more on there without being too crazy. Not too crazy. Just slide this over here.
You got a question? Is it Rayo's pizza sauce or their marinara?
They have a pizza sauce, which I love. It actually tastes very similar to their marinara. The big difference is the pizza sauce is a little less liquidy, which means it won't be as runny on your pizza. But same flavors. And I have used the marinara in place of the pizza sauce if you can't find the pizza sauce. But I said they do have one, and it's great. And if you look for it, it's not gonna be in your like spaghetti sauce area. Pizza sauce always has its own little section in the grocery store. So it'll be right there. There we go. Get this one going. This one I think I'm gonna do a meat lovers. And then I think I have enough to make 2, maybe 3 more pizzas at least to get going on it. I realized I can turn off my oven that I had proofing. There we go. That was I didn't realize how loud that was. Got really quiet. Now I just realized one of my Christmas decorations is just chilling over here. It's a little Santa Lucia mouse. So cute. I know. This is remind me I needed to buy. So every year I dress my girls up for Santa Lucia, and technically Santa Lucia is just for the oldest daughter, but I was not the oldest daughter in our family, and so I believe everybody gets to dress up as Santa Lucia because I was the youngest daughter. And so I dress both my girls up in the crown and things, but they've both outgrown them, so I need to get them new robes and sashes and socks. Last year I didn't have matching striped socks for both of them, and it was a catastrophe. It's the little things. And my 15-year-old daughter still humors me and dresses up and lets me do her hair in the cute little braids. There we go. Okay, let's check this guy. Oh, perfect. We've got our nice little brown bubbling. That's the kind of the indication I use when I'm ready for. Because sourdough pizza has more of a blonder color on it, so you don't want to keep cooking until it gets to like a brown, because then you'll kind of overcook everything. There we go. Get that guy on there with my little mousey. And this one, again, we'll do like a meat lovers on it. And I'm trying to make sure I get everybody's favorite pizza in here. My daughter, I will say my 15-year-old daughter and my husband, they both have the same taste in pizza. Pepperoni, 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 which is my least favorite pizza. We'll do a little bit of not quite as crazy as the Popalicious pepperoni, but we'll do a medium number of pepperonis on here. And then we're gonna do some sausage, and we'll keep it as that. Apparently I'm shredding my pepperoni all. And I'm using deli pepperoni, but you can also use just the good old like Hormel pepperoni. They're both great. I love the deli pepperoni because I don't have to use them just for pizzas. They are great on sandwiches as well. We're gonna get this guy going. And then I'm gonna work on a dessert pizza, so I'll have that one ready, which is, again, super, super simple, but delicious. We're gonna add in our cheese. Fourth one down. Now we're going to open our full bags. Slide this on here. Now, I will say, I love a good, like, thinner crust pizza, but my favorite pizza, and it might, be too touristy or whatnot, but I love Giordano's in Chicago. It's that deep dish pizza with the layers, and it's just different. I just love that pizza. It's just so good. I haven't had it in forever, but that is one of my favorites. There we go. Got this guy ready.
What's your feelings about ranch and pizza?
You know what? I love ranch. Ranch is it is like a food group to me. It's like an extra category. I actually think it would be delicious. Now, I don't ever eat it with ranch because to me, I'm really picky about my ranch. It needs to be a good buttermilk ranch, not like, one out of the bottle or whatnot. It has to be homemade.
And what about the most polarizing?
Oh, pineapple on pizza? Yeah, that is a no-go for me. I do not like sweet and savory mixed. It is just not. You know what? I'll leave these for mine. I'm going to cut 2 more little ones out of parchment paper. And that's what I just use for my things is parchment paper. But I don't want any pizza oils going on here because I'm going to make a dessert one right now. Because I don't know if you've ever, you get, Papa John's or one of those things, and then your kids are like, I need the dessert. They always want the dessert. So I make dessert pizza. So I'm like, look, we have Papa John's at home. We don't need to buy it. Okay. So I'm just going to cut 2 little circles. And I will say this helps me too, because I remember one of the first times I made pizza, I made my pizza way too big for the pizza thing. So I had to roll in all the crusts to do a stuffed crust pizza. Okay. So this one we're going to do a simple cinnamon sugar pizza on there. And this is, again, one of my favorite. Now you can also... if you love streusel topping, you can make a streusel topping and throw it on there. It works so well, and it cooks up pretty quickly as well with this. Here we go. Give it a stretch. Let's see if the, oh, that's not at all.
It's awful.
It was awful. I feel like I can do this one. Ooh. Almost, no. You know, they make it look so easy on like TV. It is not an easy skill. Now, maybe I don't have very good hand-eye coordination, so maybe that's why it's not easy.
Oh, what kind of flour?
So for this, it's a 00 flour. I actually got it from, like, I ordered on Amazon. It says it's from Italy. On there, I switched to this flour, and I will tell you, it made a huge difference in the pizza crust. Everyone, when I made the switch this summer, everyone was like, you can't make pizza any other way now. It has to be with this flour. It does make a difference. It's like, it gives you chewier, but crisper. It just cooks up better on there, especially with the outdoor pizza. So I'm interested to try it on this one because I haven't used it on this little pizza oven yet. So I'm not sure if it makes a big difference on this one, but for our outdoor pizza oven, it made a huge difference. Okay, let's check this guy. Ooh, beautiful. Nice and perfect. Got those nice little bubbles on it. Slide that guy right over here. Move this one up just a smidge. And we'll get this next one going. And just gorgeous. But actually, let me grab that flour. I have it, so I can never actually remember the name of it. But this is the flour. It's Pulsalelli. I butchered that, I know, completely. But it's just a 00, which means it's like a really nice fine whatnot, but it is delicious. It kneads up better, and it works well. I got that on Amazon. It was like you had to buy a big, like, huge 11-pound bag of it, but definitely worth it. Okay, let me get, where did I put my butter? No, there's my butter paddle. Okay, so similar to how we're gonna do the, like the cheese bread, we're gonna spread our butter on here. You actually want a little bit more than I did on the cheese bread, because this is it's gonna melt kind of that sugar and the cinnamon together and kind of give it a nice little crisp and make it almost like a little caramel on here. So a good kind of big area of butter. Beautiful. And then we're just gonna do a cinnamon sugar mixture, just really basic. If you want to get all fall vibes, you could definitely do like pumpkin pie spice if you wanted to. And we're just gonna sprinkle it over, and then I will sprinkle more on after it bakes, because again, this one's gonna melt and it's gonna make a little bit of a crunch to it. And then that last one is kind of that finishing part of it. So here's our dessert one going up, and since I have one more pizza, let's see, we'll get this one going and cooking up, but we'll get the dessert one going. That way I can kind of serve up here. Get this stretched out. And here, we can take a quick little peek on our ones cooking right now. You can see how well that cheese has melted up. Just looking beautiful. I will say I do open it up, you know, because it cooks it at a high heat, and this one has like this coil at the top, and lifting it up just takes a little bit of that top heat off, so you get a full crispy crust all the way through without overly bubbled cheese. Okay, what should our last one? I'm wondering if I do another cheese or I do a sausage. I know the kids aren't gonna want the veggies. It's always trying to figure out what will get eaten the best. I think we'll do another cheese, because my kids just love cheese. Now, you could do, I've also done in here calzones in there where, you know, you fill it up, you flip it over and cook it. And I said they work fairly good in here. As well, the top one does get a little bit more crispy than the bottom crust on it. So I tend to just keep it with our regular pizzas. Here we go. And one thing when you're making pizzas, and if you've never made them before, I feel like the biggest thing is people buy way too much sauce or use too much sauce. You don't need a lot of sauce. If you put too much on there, you're gonna get a soupy pizza. So really just enough to kind of spread around on here, not too crazy. But I only use like a half a jar to make, I think, 6 pizzas, and then we have 1 dessert pizza. So you don't need a lot of it. So I will say, just don't go overkill on it. I think the first time I ever, I put way too much and it was just like super soupy. But keep your marinara sauce because you can dip your pizza in it as well. We're gonna do cheese on here. And then I'm just gonna make a smiley face on here for the kids. Make it fun on there. Let's take a quick peek at this. Oh, almost done. Very nice. We're just about at it. And we'll do 2 eyes. Voila. That was one thing growing up. We always had, what was it like? Pizza night. So my sister would make the pizza dough for everyone. And then we all had like a little bit of a pan that we did, and we would all decorate our pizzas. And I know this is super cheesy, but I kind of think it's fun. But we decorate them, and then you got to eat your own personal pan pizza.
You have a question? With this dough, would it be possible to do like cheesy breadsticks?
Yes, so my first pizza that we made on here, this is right here. This is my cheesy bread. So it has, what I do is I put butter first, then garlic salt and Italian seasoning. Then you do your mozzarella, and then you add more garlic salt and more Italian seasoning. And it is the best cheesy bread. The kids all talk about how they love the cheesy bread, almost more than everything else. There we go. Beautiful, just about there. Look at that, we've got this nice thing. The crust is looking perfect. So we'll have that there. We're gonna take that off in just a second. We've got our pizzas lined up here. And then let me grab, since we're gonna have our fruit for tonight, I'm gonna grab, let me flip this over so we have nice clean bottom. And we're gonna have our honeydew. We finished up all of our watermelon today, so we're gonna eat our melon while this cooks up. And then we'll be ready for our lovely dinner. Now, I will say, people always get turned off on cooking or cutting up their own fruit. They think it's hard or difficult. It's not. You can cut up your fruit like super quick, as long as you have like a good kind of idea on how to do it. So let's get this guy cut through. So we've got our honeydew. A lot of times I buy hammy melons, which you can't even buy pre-cut. Our golden honeydews are all really great and delicious on here. But this is delicious. So we're gonna kind of scoop out our base here, get all those seeds out, and then we'll slice this up. Now the seeds aren't good to eat or anything like that to keep, so make sure you just toss them because they aren't good. There we go. Got all of that base melon out. We'll start with one little bit and then we'll move on to the next one if we have time. So my kids will eat a whole melon per meal, like when we do it. So beautiful. So let's get this guy off, and I'll get my dessert one on. That way we can crisp up and see it on there. Slide this guy under here. Beautiful. We'll get our dessert pizza. Now the dessert pizza cooks up pretty fast because there's no cheese or anything laying it down to insulate it. So by the time we have this melon cut up, we will be ready to kind of serve up, and I'll put the last one in, but I can kind of show you how we're gonna eat our pizzas. So let me get this guy cut up. So start by cutting your melon in half, scooping out the seeds, kind of your basic one-on part. But then what you're gonna do is, to make it easy, instead of just cutting down like this, make little slices in your melon along the way. And then your melon will lay flat like this. So then you don't have to be expert knife skills. You just can slide your blade right across the rind and it cuts off perfectly. You get pretty much everything off and it's not hard. And this works well with cantaloupe, honeydew melon, canary melons, hammy melons. It doesn't work for watermelon because that melon rind is too thick. But you do this and you're gonna save more than 50% of the cost of your melon because you're gonna get way more than you would in the store. And you cut it up yourself. Saves you a pretty penny. Because you can get this melon for what, like $4 for a huge melon, and if I were to buy the same thing, it'd be easily 10-15 bucks for the same amount. There we go. But again, it's pretty easy once you know how to do it. And I will say, in the beginning, I feel like everyone goes like, oh, what's the best way to cut a watermelon? What's the best way to cut this and that? I said, I always say, find the way that works best for you. Don't be afraid to experiment with it and get in there. But I found this one because look, you get like everything off. Super easy, super simple. And it will take you less than 5 minutes to cut the melon up. Here we go. Let's get this guy on. Let's take a quick check at our dessert pizza. Look at that. You see how that butter has melted and it's kind of bubbling there with the sugar? It's turning into this nice kind of chewy cinnamon caramel. That will just be delicious. So that will be ready here in about 1 minute. I'm going to start grabbing my my pizza knife to kind of cut up the pizzas, and then we can start kind of serving up. There we go. So we've got our first half of our melon on here. Let's put this to the side. And this is my pizza knife. It's called a Messer Luna, which is the German word for moon-shaped knife. So it works great. So here's our cheese bread, and you can just slide it through. And look, it just cuts beautifully on here. I find it's easier than like a pizza cutter because you can really force it down through there to cut it. But look how beautiful, thin, crispy, and delicious our pizza is. Okay, let's grab this last guy off, and let me grab cutting another board for this because we're gonna sprinkle it with some cinnamon sugar, and then we can kind of do a quick go over. But this guy cooks up pretty fast. There we go. I'm gonna add this last guy back on there. So we have our fun-faced one going on. Now what you're gonna do with this one, while it's hot and gooey, you see you've got your melted butter. This is where you add your second layer of cinnamon sugar. You're gonna sprinkle it on, and voila. You'll let it cool for just a minute, but this is the best dessert pizza ever. Well, guys, we are pretty much done with cooking up for tonight. So I'm gonna just do a quick rundown of our pizzas and our cheese bread, and then we'll send you guys off. So tonight we made this is our sausage and meat lovers pizza. So we have sausage and pepperoni on there. This is the famous cheese bread where you put garlic salt, butter, and Italian spices, followed by cheese, followed by garlic salt and Italian spices for the best cheese bread. Our classic cheese pizza on our sourdough crust, my personal favorite, mushrooms, onions, peppers, and Italian sausage with mozzarella cheese. This is the Papalicious pepperoni, where you have a whole layer of pepperoni, cheese, and then even more pepperoni. And then for dessert, you have your, using your same sourdough pizza crust, you add butter, cinnamon, sugar, cook it up in there, and then add another layer of cinnamon sugar for just a nice, chewy, sweet, delicious dessert pizza. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I try to do live cooking shows every single day, kind of show you what we're making for our family and hopefully teach you guys something along the way. Again, we do upload all of our videos to the link on our page, so if you ever want to recreate any of these recipes at home, you can just go to that page, search for what we made, and you can watch and cook along with me again. We also have a link to our Amazon storefront that has all of our different cooking gear and gadgets in it. I've got my knives, my cutting boards, my pans, everything that I use in the kitchen I have in there for you guys to check out. But again, thank you so much for joining us here. Don't forget